down to the 5th and final game here at MSI. Everything on the line now. And let's get into the draft.
Let's see what is going to be banned away. I imagine things are going to look relatively similar as HLE going to choose the red side after BLG chose first pick in the 5th game.
Sometimes people will change up their bans though, leave multiple OPs, try to go for trades that they think could be beneficial to them. When you're thinking about the jungle pool though, I'm thinking about Wukong, I'm thinking about Pantheon, which has been getting banned a lot. You know, there are a lot less of these champions kind of outside of that that you can really go towards as far as these kind of like standard AD junglers that have just been dominating the meta. You can get into the more weird stuff like Aatrox jungle or Zehen jungle and those types of angles, but I feel like they are outclassed pretty hard by the Pantheon and Wukong type champs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because you're gonna have to think about the synergies with your mid laner too, of course, with your jungle picks. And so, like you're saying, if you go a little bit outside the standard AD ones and you want to dip into some of the tank ones that are still available, then you also have to adjust some of the rest of your draft.
I think Vi still needs to be banned though. I don't think they're going to let Shun get his hands on that as far as the first pick is concerned. And so does it have to be Vi Pantheon? Is like that's what you have to do in order to make sure that this jungle matchup works? Instead, the Syndra needs to be banned.
Trade, right? That's the thing. Like that's the other option is if you think you can trade OPs, you can do that. But I think if it is Vi and Pantheon getting banned, then Wukong becomes pretty high prio unless people want to get a little bit more creative. We haven't seen Poppy played yet, so you can go towards tank angles like Poppy as well, which are great denial-style champions.
Also, Sylas and Akali both up for both these mid laners.
Yone.
Ooh.
The Anivia not going to be played by Zeus here.
So the junglers are up, right? So it's at least one of Pantheon or Vi are going to be up, and then even if you ban one of them, you can grab the other. You with like something like a Wukong. If we expect that Vi will be banned out, you could go Pantheon Wukong as potential trades. And thinking about bot lane, I think we're kind of at the point where we're looking at supportive AD carries, things like MF and Jhin, or you're looking at hyper carries and enchanter pairings. And it's going to be interesting to see where the two teams want to take us. But Vi is up, so it feels like they're kind of asking you to take it, which makes me wonder if KANAVI wants to go for something like a Poppy answer, something that is more of a denial-style pick, to try to punish that, to try to answer the plays that we know Shun will be looking for.
And this Vi was a no-brainer. We are very much expecting that this will be the lock-in, and I'm very curious. HLE, they know that this is coming. So what is their plan to take this down? Nefiri is not available. And there are quite a few things that can do decently into the Vi, but I feel like it has to be a team composition answer.
Exactly. You can get counter-engaged from other roles as well. You can counter with support. You can counter with top lane and stuff as well.
Yeah. There's Lulu. There's lots of. I mean, I think for the junglers, it's going to be Pantheon, Wukong, or maybe I could see Poppy angle, right? Yeah. That's kind of my expectation based on where the pool is. You just don't really see AP junglers because there's the only AD champion mid is really the Yone. And so it is Lulu. Lulu Yunara could be a pretty easy one to go towards. Like I said, it's really supportive style AD carries, or it is hyper carry with Enchanter, right? So they're going to go hyper carry with Enchanter. Viper and On could go MF, they could go Jhin, they could go hyper carries of their own as well if they want to try to go that route.
Yeah, and Aphelios had done pretty well into Yunara even when she was at her peak, so they've got a couple more options there. And this is the Aurora that we've kind of been waiting for. See if they do. It's, again, a lot of this dive. When you show the early Vi, you're going to need more dive on top of it.
If they go Aurora and then another aggressive champion, Poppy goes crazy, though. So I feel like that could be them trying to lay a trap a little bit here for BLG. If BLG overinvests in aggressive champions, 3 dash champions that could be coming through, the Poppy plus the Lulu, that could shut down so much. And I would really like to see it coming out here. I think that Poppy could be fine both in top and in jungle, depending upon the matchup. So to me, if you see the Nautilus come through on 3, it feels like a go button.
Wow, the Aatrox blind would be kind of crazy here. That will be locked in for Bin on the top side of the map, remembering what Zeus did to Lion yesterday. But that was an answer to the Shen.
Don't make me do that.
No, well, like, in their case, it was an answer to the Shen, right? It worked very well in that case. This time it's blind.
And it's their idea of like keeping these fights with the engage. Get the Aatrox in there. They're not going to be able to escape All right, let's see. HLE, I feel like the entire time, they're going to know you're going to first pick the Vi, so you're going to go hard dive on us. And so they have to be sifting through some of these answers for the counter engage, and they end up with the global option here with the Pantheon instead.
I mean, this is so interesting now because now you're seeing kind of, different paths as far as the picks have taken. So you can be seeing bot lane bans here, for HLE. They could be targeting support or AD carry. And on the other side, I feel like it's protection bans for the Aatrox, right? So Nautilus is going to get banned out. That will be dropped. Something like Leona, if they're worried about hard engage, could be another one. Yep. Blitzcrank is always a possibility if On wants to pull a page out of Delight's book. So there are those style of champs. And then it's probably about trying to get a more beneficial matchup here for Bin and Knight. Are you more concerned about the blind Aatrox or the blind Aurora? Because that's what you're trying to throw protection bans for. And we know that Zeka has all the melee champions up and available. He could go Sylas, he could go Akali, he could go Yone. So he has all of those tools here, and they are going to try to thin the mid lane pool.
So the Yone is going to be taken away here, so Zeka doesn't get that extra layer of comfort. One last ban here for HLE. We'll see whether they keep their eyes towards that bottom side, or whether it is going to, towards that support pool, or whether it's going to be an AD carry taken away here.
Yeah, keep bending away the hard engage, because you're already going to face it, for sure.
Maybe the Blitzcrank is actually going to get banned.
The thing is, it's like, can you thin the pool enough? Because I was going to say, there's Blitz, there's Rel, there's Leona, and there's a lot of different champions. So it's just kind of like, which are you most worried about? By banning the Rel, to me, that says they're expecting MF. And I feel like they banned the two best MF pairings that I see left in the pool right now. Because, yeah, you could go Blitz MF, but it doesn't feel like as strong to me compared to Rel MF or Nautilus MF, which have such beautiful setup, both for the Aurora as well as a possible bullet time. Obviously, MF Aurora, great combo there too. So it is going to be interesting.
All right.
Yeah, and now
Better Aatrox going to be banned away.
I also think, though, by getting the Aatrox early, we still have options to go deep into that Viper pool that we've been talking about for so long. Yeah. If it's not now, then when is it going to be? Because this is the last game of MSI.
Are you telling me it's Teemo time?
This is the last game. I mean, Atlas, the door is wide open. Keiichiro was talking about the Xerath bottom and solo queue and stuff like that, but his pool goes so deep, and this is the literal last game of MSI, so it has to be now.
The blind, the Sylas into the Aurora is the consideration here, and that will be the lock-in for Zeka. A difficult matchup, though.
I mean, he was the world champion during the Sylas Akali meta. Let's see it.
And not the best ults to steal yet, right? I don't think that there's anything super inspiring. They're all fine. I mean, you can steal away the Vi ult, you can have a bit of engage, you can steal away the Aatrox ult, have some additional sustain. It's not bad, but it is kind of the MF that I'm expecting to come through. And then I'm just wondering, is it Leona? Is it something spicy like a Blitz? Where do you want to take us?
But the issue is both those ults are really good for Sylas, so is that what they're giving them pause to think about?
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, then you can go kind of like more off meta if you really want to try to go in there and you're worried about going toward those angles. I mean, Neeko is still available, but Neeko I feel like is an even better ult to steal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, which is why I was kind of more on the Leona train or the Blitzcrank train, but
yeah, it's like you want a good engage ult from your support, but no matter which one you get, Sylas is also going to get.
I mean, I guess Blitz is probably the worst one to give to Sylas, so I definitely understand that, and it would be a super risky pick anyway.
Imagine if Zeus did this. Game 5, picking the Gwen into Bin. For the Aatrox-Gwen matchup there towards the top side of the map. This is what I was going to ask about, though. How is the Mundo matchup into the Aatrox? Because Zeus has been impossible to deal with on this champion.
I think it is quite bad, but I will say, Mundo, unlike a lot of other champions in top lane, when they have bad matchups, he can always farm because you can always cleaver farm. It's very hard to deny him experience, to deny him CS. You're not going to be winning any of these early fights against Bin by any means, but you can survive, you can scale, and you can become a menace in the late game. So I don't think it's as easy as the Renekton one, which is still difficult to navigate in the early levels, but I do like the angle here.
I also think you can kind of put a crack in BLG's comp if you mark this Neeko, and Mundo is great for that. You just try and mark sides with either Mundo or Pantheon in a lot of cases too. If you can find that Neeko, it completely dismantles a lot of the big hard engage.
Absolutely agree, and I mean, they have the Pantheon on their side, so while Mundo has some difficulties into a champion like Aatrox, if the Pantheon gets up there and you kill this guy a couple times, we saw what happened when the Swain got accelerated. Similar things can happen if the Mundo gets accelerated. The only percent HP damage really in the team is Vi, right? You know, which isn't bad, but MF is not a great tank killer. She needs to plant and fire, and if Mundo gets too far ahead, he's going to be coming for your head.
I think it is a good pick for the team later on, you know, to be the point man, to mark these angles, mark the flanks, and try and stop the engages.
Yeah, not to mention, if you try and engage with just a Pop Blossom, the Mundo is just going to keep on walking and then start throwing briefcases at your carries. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get onto the Rift for game number 5 of the MSI Grand Final. BLG's Golden Road on the table here. HLE trying to bulldoze it.
Yeah, they're sending everyone bot here. KANAVI showing, the rest of them were wrapping around the other side, so they were hoping that they were going to catch Shun on Raptors, but they had 4 members walking through that brush.
Yeah, face checking is on. Tries to get the Blooming Burst down. The heal has to be used. He's taking so much damage. Viper already having to use his barrier. 2 summoned spells traded for 2. As KANAVI dealing with Knight and Shun together. And he doesn't even seem too frightened about it. And that is going to be Shun claiming his own jungle.
Yeah, KANAVI really wanted that steal sticking around, but mid laner coming over means a difference. And that is your mid laner paying to come do that for you. There is a big payment in those minions lost mid. So they do defend it for Shun, but we'll see about Knight.
And their bot lane really got hurt by that. On actually took so much damage. He used heal and both pots at level 1. And this is supposed to be an advantageous MF Neeko matchup.
And this is after On had a really rough game previously. He is coming off a rough Skarner game. And so we'll see Guma and Delight with the early level 2 off of their early health lead. Control of the minion wave, exactly what Yunara wants. Easily stack up your Q and threaten.
Well, let's see how it does go. Right now, HLE with a lot of control around the map. Hasn't really translated into too much outside of that great trade, as Viper having to take his potion as well. Delight has also been through both of his. And so just a lot of fighting back and forth here towards this bottom side. But the main thing is the Yunara has access to the wave, and that is going to feel a lot better for her, as Knight trading really well here with Zeka, trying to even things out. It looked like Zeka went in aggressively. The answer was available. So we're going to pan down towards Shun here.
You can see these 3 players on the hunt for the Grand Slam. They have a Worlds trophy. They have a first stand trophy. And we have Shun looking for Zeka.
Yeah, Zeka going to land the chains there as Knight now trying to push him away. That was... How did Zeka manage to dodge that? I swear that was actually going to hit, as now he's slinking towards this brush towards the bottom side. That's going to be Shun making his way over. And there is the dash to allow Zeka to escape, and he will be able to go back.
It is at a critical point too, because look at the minion wave there, and it's the jungle trying to pay the mid laner back for him protecting the Raptors. They wrap around. They don't get a summoner spell out of Zeka, and he still has his teleport though, so he teleports right back, and honestly, he can just clean these back up.
We talked about it before, but Knight back in 2023 on JDG. One of the closest attempts we've ever had to the Golden Road here. T1 stopped them in their tracks at Worlds, and Knight again trying to attempt the Golden Road here in 2026 with BLG in an era where LCK had been dominating these last couple of years. They've won 4 World Championships in a row. They've won multiple MSIs. BLG wins first stand, and people were thinking, especially after the first couple games of this series, that they might be well on their way to winning this too.
Yeah, so far this year has been LPL's year. You know, with LCK getting eliminated out of first stand so quickly.
Vibe having to flash here towards this bottom side. Not meaning to interrupt, but it's getting a little dicey down here. As Delight also going low, but it's KANAVI moving in, moves over a ward, and BLG to get the heads up and back away.
Yeah, Viper playing very defensively. That was flash and barrier used early, and they have to evacuate because KANAVI could look for them.
Yeah, Make It Rain is going to slow him down. The clone is going to stick under the turret, but that is going to mean that HLE get full control, and this whole wave is just dead.
Yeah, it's insane already. The bottom difference is going to be huge. This Yunara Lulu is going to be devastating in these team fights. Viper zoned off more experience, more minions, and only now can he slink back in.
Oh, that's big though. On stops the base from Guma, so he is going to have a little bit more of a difficulty, utilizing that advantage. But I just think it's so interesting that the story for HLE all year long has been, yep, Guma's Mr. Weak Side. He's going to play your Ashe or your Jhin or your mages. He's going to chill. And in this series, KANAVI is down bot, zoning Viper off the tower or diving him. It feels like almost every game.
Yeah, and HLE have the luxury of choosing which world's MVP they want to carry their games.
That seems nice.
There's a few of them that they have available, and GUMAYUSI today just feels like he's got his head screwed on right. He has been so stable in this series. As Zeka, he's going to try and prove me wrong here as he goes in, but it is going to be on finding the snare, and maybe it's the other side of the coin. Zeka is just going to make a bit of a Venn diagram, but there's not a whole lot shared in that one.
Still very worth on that roam from On. They get the flash also in addition to those ults traded here, so the pressure applied to one of your world's MVPs.
Yeah, that is very good there for Knight. Someone that they have been struggling to get involved in these last couple games. Viper, remember, no flash.
Taking a bit of damage here, but GUMAYUSI not able to follow up on the Slurkle just yet.
Yeah, not going to be able to go in, but Viper down a couple waves, of course. Bin does have that advantage on the top side, has rushed the early Executioners. Very important, of course, against Mundo, not only for the ult, but also for that W healing. And as expected, Bin has the full push, but like I said, it's very hard to deny Mundo from CS entirely. You have the E to help you last hit under tower, you have the Qs to farm with cleavers, and Zeus is staying within striking distance in this 1v1 on the top side, which is really all you have to do. As Mundo, every minute that passes is a blessing. It is just getting better and better and better the later you go.
Just needs to build as many belts as he possibly can. The Heartsteel is now on the way. The Infernal Chains are going to miss. Zeus just happy to grab experience, as we can see. Falling down about a wave right now. That was to be expected. Vision on this Dragon does go over to BLG, and Shun is just going to Vault Break his way in there. Control Vision going to be cleared out here.
Yeah, KANAVI had spent a lot of time hovering on this bomb side. They defended the control ward once, but as soon as he recalls, and Shun has his level 6 already, he slips back into the Dragon. So BLG are going to be able to take that one. Level 6 on the Vi, and bot side going to be able to collect the wave as well.
Top lane has just been so interesting throughout this series for me. I felt like Bin played really well in the Renekton game, had an incredible Jax game, but Zeus has been so critical in these last couple of wins, has been getting himself into these amazing spots now, and bringing out the Mundo here. These guys, they're head-to-head. It has been pretty incredible. We've seen the matchup so many times. They're looking bot.
Yeah, Shun not going to quite find the flash, as there is the flash escape from GUMAYUSI. Shun too far as the ulti does come down, but first blood goes over to Knight, and GUMAYUSI's going to be taken as well. It doesn't matter that it kind of went wrong at the start as BLG claimed too.
Exactly. Even though Shun doesn't connect immediately, he gets so low, they try and damage him on the way out, and the follow-up from BLG, it's Viper and On with the double snare into the kill.
I can't believe they all survived. I thought for sure that how this started, when the Q flash misses from Shun over the wall, I am thinking this is bad. Guma gets the dash flash back into the tower. I thought Guma was going to be able to take down Shun, but that double snare, as you call out, Kobe, setting up for both the spells hitting from Knight on everyone.
And the barrier saves Viper there at the very end. The timing, just gorgeous, because Delight, you can see he's just about to hit that level 6, and that wild growth could have been pivotal.
When off turns back to On, and they get the bot lane lead. Okay, HLE, they're not going to take that lying down, though. They swap back to the other side of the map. On their revives, up to Grubs. KANAVI gets one of them thus far, and they're chasing them back out. Delight now with the support ultimate advantage. Even though On made a big play, Delight with the experience advantages this time around, and they're just going to bully them off.
Exactly. You know, there is that cost to On making the roam towards mid lane. You know, he did attack Zeka, he did force the flash, but he's down about a full level now and is going to be missing that Pop Blossom. But Viper getting into a comfort zone now, and KANAVI looking for Knight.
Yeah, looking for an angle here as Knight is going to get stunned up. Chains are going to land, but Knight just down to 50% and will be able to walk it off. No flash employed just yet as the dash in from GUMAYUSI. They just want to kill On, and they are going to do so. Viper immediately cancels the ulti as KANAVI falls down on top of him. He doesn't have support, though, because On is being really annoying. Guma is going to finally pick up that kill, and HLE are on the board.
Yep, On still level 5. HLE strike, and Guma getting richer, getting turret plate money on top of that.
And again, that ultimate from KANAVI helping out the bot lane so big because it meant Viper immediately had to cancel his ult, which may have pushed Guma back, which may have allowed On to survive, but instead, Pantheon arrives, cancels the ult, forces the flash, Guma gets a kill, Guma gets a plate, he is 600 gold ahead, and he is 24 CS up right now. That gap is going to close a little bit with this wave coming in, but Viper is just getting punished here by KANAVI time and time again.
And this is an MF, right? You choose her so that she has that lane presence. They have the Neeko alongside her to match the range of the Lulu. And it hasn't necessarily worked so far. If you do find the wombo combos later on in the game, though, that ulti will tear people apart.
It absolutely can, and that's why the level 1 was so critical from Guma and Delight, right? HLE clearly came in with the game plan. They did this 4-man invade. They tried to find Sean on the Raptors. Didn't work out for KANAVI, but it did work out for Guma and Delight, who got this big chunk onto Viper and On that kind of set the tone for the 2v2 early.
Yeah, and they continue to put a lot of focus down towards him, a lot of these resources, because Zeus can just scale on the other side. Mundo, as you say, trying to safely CS, just collecting while they spend all these resources towards the scaling Yunara Lulu.
And now Zeus is on the triple belt. That is where you get to kind of choose, do you go in towards the Warmogs? Because triple belt activates the Warmogs immediately on that one item completion, which means now you cannot be pushed around in that 1v1 ever again.
Oh, Zeka doesn't quite find the chains. Knight able to just dash away from him.
Last time Zeus did play this, though, I thought he was going to do the Warmogs rush because he went triple belt, but he still did end up going Heartsteel, which obviously more power in and all-in, but the benefit of that Warmogs is you just trade infinitely with Bin, and then you back it up, you're full health every wave.
And this is well set up for HLE to take that next dragon, because both top laners not having teleports is also good for him. Zeus can just stay up there, continue to farm, while the rest of HLE try and control bottom side. But BLG are the ones with the gold lead, and I want to draw your eyes to the completed Sunder Sky here for Shun.
Oh, between worlds here for Zeka, though, as he is just going to clear out the wave and exit. Knight able to do enough damage back. Really good at standing his ground in this lane, even after Zeka has started to feel a lot stronger on this first item.
Shun, because he has the first completed item, he gets access to the setup for vision for the dragon, and the vision can be critical, and now Shun looking.
Oh, he is on vision. They do clear out the control ward here as GUMAYUSI just backs his way out. Lulu off a reset, Delight making his way back down. The Ardent Sensor is done, but I don't think it's going to be there in time for this dragon to be taken. Doubles for BLG. As Zeus just standing under the turret with his ultimate running as KANAVI's just walking in. Finds a stun onto On. He's taking so much damage. KANAVI down to 50% though, as he does have that wild growth. Bullet time comes down. Pop Blossom onto 2. But the bullet time doesn't quite do enough. GUMAYUSI takes down On. KANAVI flashes out. The cease and desist will be acquiesced here by HLE as it's a double kill for GUMAYUSI. And HLE will say thanks so much for the dragon.
They take it again. Thanks for the leash, and they're not done. Pantheon ult for Knight.
Of course, KANAVI's just going to dive underneath the turret. Doesn't quite find the damage with the Q. And will just settle for some Krugs.
His former teammate did not want to let him get away with that one. And he did not want to let them get away with this dragon. Even though BLG had the early setup, KANAVI with no fear jumps in onto On.
Exactly, he gets that huge chunk and he has the Lulu behind him. I didn't think they were going to be there in time, but he just charges On in. And even though On comes across with this ult, Viper runs out of mana, Shun runs out of health, and Knight has nothing to really offer in this fight. He's got no resources, and it's such slim margins here, all the low health bars, but with Knight and with Viper Room, they can't finish anyone off.
And they had a storeroom of honey fruit behind them as well, so they were just dipping out of the fight, eating honey fruit and coming back.
Meanwhile, BLG are tanking this dragon. They're spending all these spells on the dragon during that time.
Oh, Zeka gonna have to dash cannon his way out. Is gonna be able to do so here as Knight and Shun unable to find him. As KANAVI thinking about coming on over, but does back away.
But even with that win, it is only 700 gold between the two teams. It is a dragon apiece. We are basically dead even at this point.
But it's where is that gold? Concentrated on the Yunara. GUMAYUSI in game 5 here with a Lulu at his back.
The Coinbase Gold Grind showing us that GUMAYUSI is in a phenomenal spot this game. 1.5K, we were talking about it before. Where do you put your eggs? When you're HLE, when the chips are down, when you're in game number 5, it's their most recent World's MVP. That's what they're going to put them in.
It's a good place to put them, but I feel like we're getting a little bit of a repeat of that Jax game from Bin, right? Where it's two sides of the map. It's who's going to be able to utilize that advantage most. Bin has a large advantage on that top side. We have seen Aatrox break hearts time and time again internationally, including Zeus playing it yesterday. He was the one destroying Lion, and now Bin, it's going to be up to him.
And they have the tools to help Bin. A Vi ultimate is just what you need if you want to shut down a hyper carry. If you've got a Yunara jumping around with a big gold lead, then a well-placed Vi ultimate can sit her down.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize until just now, it's a Chemtech Soul this game. And you might be thinking this is phenomenal for Mundo, but both sides of the Rift are going to benefit from this one so much. I was thinking to myself, like, oh, well, I guess Chemtech is still available for one of those worst souls, but I actually think it's probably one of the best for both of these compositions. As KANAVI just going to walk towards the river here. Rift Herald.
They want to fight.
Yep, that is going to be what's on their minds. As the Pop Blossom is going to connect onto KANAVI. Cease and desist into the backline as they look to take down GUMAYUSI. Knight is going to finish it, but now Viper is in trouble. Zeka dives forward, finds the chains to take out his former teammate. And there goes KANAVI as well. Zeka trying to escape, but he had to tank up the turret to get out of here. The Abduct is going to come through, the Abscond, and the Kingslayer is going to be there, but it's Knight that takes him down. And they'll take a free Rift Herald as well.
On starts out the play, and Shun's Vi ultimate sits Guma down. They put that gold lead in the dirt at the very beginning of the fight. What a flank from BLG.
That was beautiful by BLG. Knight with the TP, on with the engage. Shun getting into the back line. Everyone combining there perfectly. Viper gunning him down with the bullet time over the top. They needed it all, and they got it. They get the Herald as well. They get plates. They have nearly 1,000 gold lead just like that.
What more can you ask for? A game 5 back and forth. Just 1,000 gold lead swinging back and forth, and we call it out. Looking for the Yunara. On gets the dash out of him. There's the ult, and then Vi ultimate into the ultimate over the top from the Misfortune, and Knight's full combo deleting Guma.
It's beautiful. Even though the Pop Blossom does not hit Guma, the root does from On, the Vial does, the full combo from Knight does, and that is more than enough to take him down through everything here.
And then Zeka is trying to clean up some money there, but he has to go all the way under tower to get the kill back on the other side.
Needing to use that last chain was so important because it meant he was out of the fight completely.
And still, our gold is so close in this game. Our dragons are so close in this game.
We did actually get the Warmogs rush here from Zeus, which I think is so smart. When you're behind on Mundo, this means now Bin can do nothing. All you do is you step forward, you tank up the Aatrox damage and the damage from the wave. You don't allow him to ever get in range of the tower with a minion wave there. Even if you lose 70% of your health, it does not matter. You are full health after every single wave. And that is one of the most powerful things about this build. So I love seeing this tag from Zeus. It's so smart when the powerful part of your team is the other side of the map. You just have to hang on and don't let Bin push his advantage.
But there is going to be still advantages pushed as the first turret is going to be taken down by BLG towards the top side. 2,000 gold is approaching here for their advantage. And the Mundo hasn't scaled just yet. And HLE, I think still feeling very comfortable moving into a late game with a composition like this if Bin can be kept under control.
Yeah, I love it. The tension is high because BLG have the gold lead. It is hard to get those dream flanks, though. The last one was beautiful. It's perfect. Now, on the Dragon, HLE immediately burning it down. I don't think you can contest this one. And honestly, there's not even a lot in the aftermath that BLG can get, but they can push bottom, and Bin can get up to that tower.
And Knight, you know, it's not just Bin now with the lead. It is Knight. He has this big advantage. And last time these twos met up, I mean, it was Knight who was getting the better of the matchup. It was Knight who got multiple solo kills, who was pumping out the damage, who was winning the lanes. He went 25, 3, and 29 in that last series. He's not having that level of dominance here. Zeka and HLE have stepped up. But Knight is 3-0-3. He is 1.4K ahead, and he is going for a high damage build. It's looking like Shadow Flame second. He's got the Sork boots, and he is looking to one-shot Guma.
And it's 100% kill contribution for Shun, Knight, and Viper in this game. They have made sure that they're setting up for skirmishes, bringing everyone with them to make this one happen. And Zeka is looking to try and scale, trying to claim some of these ultimates, get Pop Blossoms, and make those huge plays. But Knight, slowly but surely, has just been doing way more damage in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, BLG, they have a lot of burst damage, and they have a lot of opportunities now. But HLE, as you're talking about the scaling, they have a couple of avenues of scaling on their team with tankiness and with DPS. So BLG, again, the tension is high because the play that they just put off was beautiful, but they're going to have to make some more of those.
Zeus is just going to wander towards this turret here and claims 2 plates. Okay. Now he's down to 50% and wanders away from Bin, I would assume. Has his Swifties, so he isn't too perturbed.
Exactly, that's the thing. If he can't 100-0 you, he cannot kill you. You will Warmogs back up to full, and it's going to kick in right now, and this is why you can play this style with this build. It is so powerful. You just ignore all trades. If he can't 100-0 you, he can do nothing.
It's looking very, very frustrating, I have to admit. As Viper catches this wave in the mid lane, GUMAYUSI is still looking for item number 3, but does have the first 2 completed. Yunara is pretty scary as Bin. Look at him, pressing all of these buttons, having a good time. As now Zeka looks for the chains, doesn't find them there on. We'll be able to at least hijack an ultimate. As now KANAVI moving over. Zeus just takes down the turret right from underneath him. As the World Ender has to be used, KANAVI avoids the Infernal Chains. As the rest of HLE are grouped up for a fight. They're pinging out the mid lane though, and there's not a whole lot to fight for at this point in time with 2.5 minutes on the Drake.
I mean, Zeus just pops the ult, walks in, and the demolish proc, the E damage, everything on the turret just explodes that thing. Scales with your health.
It's the Mundo theme song. Continue pushing.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of pushing, though, the Herald does go through onto the mid turret here and is going to get more map to play with for BLG as they finish off the mid turret, and now that can give them some avenues, more areas to flank from. They really do need to put that pressure again onto the Yunara.
Zeus does have his Heartsteel now completed, went for that as item number 2. Probably wants Spirit Visage before he can walk up tonight just comfortably. But just probably one Spirit Visage anyway, because that item's broken on Mundo, especially when there's a Chemtech Soul up and available. I feel like these dragons are going to be so important for HLE. They've got the Kingslayer, they've got Mundo's existence, wild growth, things like this. Like, it's just such high value here for this team.
I mean, Spirit Visage is crazy good, and I think it'll probably be his next completed item, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a Warden's Mail come in next because there is a lot of physical damage. Aatrox, MF, and Vi are the ones likely to kill you in the fight. The passive on Spirit Visage is always insanely valuable, even if it is against AD, but I think you need some armor, because that is one of the weaknesses of this style of build, is all you have is health. You have no armor whatsoever, and if MF hits 3 items and you still have no armor, yeah, you have a lot of health, but she hurts.
100% agree there. So we'll continue to monitor as HLE are trying to keep it calm and not let BLG increase that gold lead. It does just barely crest 2,000 now, but has been kept fairly stable. Again, it's also very important to continue to clean the wards. You cannot afford to get flanked again. You cannot afford for a fight to start with Guma instantly deleted. You need some damage out of that Yunara.
I think so much of this comes down to On. His positioning, utilizing his passive to be frustrating, confusing, annoying, and the Neeko, if he finds his target, you were mentioning it, if GUMAYUSI goes down at the start of these fights, Mundo can go where he please, but it's probably going to end up at the Death Chamber.
I've got to say, if I'm HLE, I feel like you should just give this next dragon. Mundo is 15, Bin is 16, just keep scaling. Allow these extra items to come through. I think the game gets better and better for you, and I feel like right now, Bin is kind of at his strongest. He just hit 16, he just completed another item, and Zeus has so much room to grow, as does Guma. I mean, when he hits IE, for example, he gets way stronger.
Yeah, it's dangerous for them right now because there's so many things they have to keep track of. You mentioned On and the creativity he could have with an engage with Protobell and Flash ready on the Neeko, and Knight has the burst damage. Knight right now is terrifying on the Aurora, so if they do get that engage, he can convert the kill. The approach is dangerous, but HLE have also done a fairly good job of keeping that vision coverage. So if they continue to check all of their flanks here, try and mark the engagers, they're going for the dragon again.
Well, the Mundo is walking from the top side of the map. A face check here from Zeka as he gets himself out of the way. The Between Worlds comes down. Great polymorph comes in. Cease and desist, and Shun, he is going to have to do that as now Zeus makes his way in. 3 people, I do not think he minds. As KANAVI not going to be diving on top, but look at Zeus. He's just going to buy the time for them to try and take down this dragon. It's only at 50%, but there is no smite to try and lock this up, so it should be a soul point going over to HLE.
BLG not on the same page. Shouldn't want the engage. He wanted the burst damage onto Sylas. but they're not there to convert, and he just goes down for free. Dragon Soul Point for HLE.
And Zeka's pretty tanky. It's just not a target that you can easily one-shot. The Lulu was there behind him, didn't even need the wild growth. MF is not there, On is not there, Bin is not there. It's a confusing decision from Shun and one that cost them big time.
Did he think? Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it here.
They're looking at them from the top. They knew that they were there.
And he had Knight with them, but that is not going to be enough. Like, they're split, and that is a one-way ticket.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if Guma face checks you, you go with 2.
Yeah.
If Zeka face checks you with the Lulu behind him, you have to get through the Merc Shield on the boots. You have to get through all this HP. This is not a zero health build, so very surprising choice there from Shun, and just gets easily polymorph burst down. They only got Zeka to about half HP without the wild growth being used.
And again, it's a critical moment because you don't get a lot of time back with this comp for BLG.
It's a difficulty, especially when every one of these Chemtech Dragons that are stacked up just feels worse and worse when there's a Mundo. It's just got regenning health over and over again. Zeka there as well with that Kingslayer. Zeus just walking up. Does take a fair bit of damage here, though, as we can see. Gets the wild growth as there are the knockups to Pop Blossom. Doesn't quite work out, but Zeka's one's decent as he dives on in. The chain latch comes down as Zeus takes out Ben. These health bars are solo. Viper is taken out, but Zeka will fall as well. Most importantly, GUMAYUSI stays alive, and they'll take down the outer turret.
And Zeus takes it all! He's still on the push. He's back to full HP.
How do you stop this man? He is just walking towards them. Maybe there's a meeting behind their fountain that he's late for. I don't know, but he has places to be, and it requires going through BLG. Yep, that's not going to kill him. He just keeps walking.
Zeus has a meeting, and it's feeling like it might be with the MSI trophy after that fight. He survives in the mid lane. BLG make the call that we can burst down the Mundo, full send everything on Zeus, and very narrowly they are not able to do it. Look how low they get him. They throw down the ult, but look at the Heart Zapper. He got it off before the vial came through. It wasn't perfectly layered. He flashes out, he gets the wild growth, he survives, and then Guma has free reign.
Exactly. He's hitting the entire time. Even though they lose the Pantheon, they lose the Sylas, they continue to push. Zeus back to full health and keeps the pressure on.
And he can feel it, can't you? Once again, Zeus, he's used to this. He just says, Guma, stand behind me and shoot. And that absolutely happened.
And
BLG now reeling.
Bin's lead is gone completely now. Zeus, level 17. Spirit Visage complete, has the cloth armor, building towards that 4th item. And I feel like BLG losing that 3rd dragon fight was so critical. That was their moment, and Bin now spotted on a flank.
Yeah, the World Ender is going to come on through. He gets polymorphed as now Zeka finds a cease and desist towards Shun. Zeus just wanders into Knight, though, has been getting chased out. GUMAYUSI following in this. The stun KANAVI locks it up. On finds the air with his Pop Blossom. Zeka is going to actually find the Kingslayer to take out Shun. They'll lose their Lulu, but On is not long for the world, and Knight is running the wrong direction. BLG have fallen apart.
BLG's battle lines are completely scrambled, and they've been overrun.
In a series that felt like it might just be BLG's, it is HLE battling back in back-to-back games. It is Zeus on the Swain, it is Zeus on the Mundo, a brick wall that BLG just have no answer to.
And from a team that got knocked out of the LCK Cup so incredibly quickly to now be this close to hoisting the MSI trophy. Only 2 other LCK teams have been able to do that. HLE Esports will join that roster. And that is going to be the Baron in their hands. Let's have a look at this one more time.
BLG, Bin up here, it starts out. He's on the top side, and so HLE are fighting 2 fights at once. Zeka down here with Shun versus everybody else, taking all the HP away from Bin and pushing him out.
There's almost like 3 fights.
Zeus just can't be stopped, right? Zeus was kind of like 1v3 holding back their carries in that moment. And even though the bullet time comes down, Viper is just out of range of Guma. The bullet time was not hitting him. He was rooted up, but he was rooted up just a pixel or two away from it.
Oh my goodness, the chain's gonna find Knight. He's knocked up with the Pop Blossom from on. It is going to connect with Delight, who is taken out immediately. They want GUMAYUSI, and they'll find him with the Pop Blossom from Zeka. Is massive. Still they get their target, and Bin is gigantic in this front line. That's the GA popped. Bin is still a problem, but so is Zeus, as both of these top laners feel unkillable. Zeka's still alive as he's now looking for Shun. He'll get in on top of him. KANAVI taken out by the Aatrox. Zeus seems impossible to move. Zeka might be an option here, but the chains go wide, and Bin shuts him down. BLG still have a bit left in the tank.
The sustained wars go the way of BLG at the critical moment. They'll deny the soul.
That is insane. They found the angle there. Viper fully committed, flashing in to get the kill, and then Zeka with the stolen Pop Blossom. I thought that would be enough. Zeus is coming back.
Yeah, he's just going to walk into two people. They are going to leave because this Mundo is such a problem, but they have to ignore him if they are going to win these fights, and that's exactly what they did.
And BLG, they know they don't have a lot of time to work with. They have to fight their way back into this one. Zeka goes in to start it out on Knight, but look at the retaliation.
Oh. And watch Viper, the Pop Blossom, and Shun going in onto Guma, and Viper just instantly flashes in onto him. And then you think for a second, is Guma going to survive with that Pop Blossom landing? But he does not. And Bin, that's so much work done here.
He does. The Aatrox, the God of War, actually on BLG's side, and they take them down. KANAVI gets chopped up. Shun surviving versus Zeka up here as well with his Sundered Sky, and they're able to clutch it at the Dragon Soul denial.
All right, still 4 minutes, and HLE have an opportunity to do that again as Zeus pushes this wave towards this turret. I have a feeling we are seconds away from another scrap.
What a banger.
Just might be. I mean, Guma's now a full item ahead here, has that 2.5K lead. Delight almost getting one shot though. But Viper also has his IE, so there is going to be some real damage behind this bullet time, but HLE pressing with the Baron.
Yeah, they will be able to take down this inner turret. The dregs of this Baron, the Rebel Baron power play, basically neutral for now as it does finally dissipate. As Shun just comes over and casually smites the big Raptor and will be able to claim his for his own. As let's see whether Zeka is able to get himself out of here, as he will be able to escape. So everything feels like it's been almost entirely evened out as a result to that answering play from BLG.
It's huge. I mean, can BLG continue to find these kills onto GUMAYUSI? They have had so many good engages. The flank towards mid lane, the fight here towards Dragon. If they can take him down at the beginning, then they can scrap it out too. They're bruisers with stacking Conqueror and keeping it going.
They absolutely can, but that's the big question. Can you do that every single time? Because it only takes once for Guma to escape, for Guma to survive, and you are going to get wiped off the map. Yes, the gold lead is largely minimized, but the scaling is not. Mundo's still getting stronger. He has a Randuin's now. Guma, as we touched on, has that IE, has 4 items, and he has the support behind him.
Vision is just so critical for the
Here
engages.
we go!
Oh, that's KANAVI actually going up into the sky. He's away from the fight. The bullet time finds Guma, and the Pop Blossom isn't going to do too much here from Zeka. They try and dive into that backline. They'll take down Viper, but what else can they get? Zeus is able to get in there and find his angle. Delight should be taken out, as the polymorph should not be quite enough, and it's a double kill for Shun. But now Zeus is just immovable. The stun onto Bin, as it's jungler and top laner versus each other. Bin and Shun, they take out KANAVI, and Zeus, he may just be mortal in the end, and Shun will be able to put him down. Bin at full health is going to continue the push.
It was both junglers looking for a play at the same time. Pantheon was ulting towards mid. Shun saw him leave as he blast cones, and he doesn't care. Straight for Guma, and Guma down again without any damage. BLG, they did it again.
How do they keep finding these angles every single time? They are just straight on to Guma, finding the perfect engage every single fight.
Epic game 5 here. It is incredible.
There is no gold lead. At this point, it is 34 minutes into the game, and finally, BLG gets one to tick over. This is absolutely absurd how incredibly close it is and how impressive it is that BLG can make this team fight look so good in these fights.
And we started the replay right after the moment I was talking about, as Shun blast cones over to where KANAVI is leaving from, and they deleted Guma.
And then it's just all about killing everyone around Zeus. You got to kill the ads before you can take down the boss, man. Then you got to get everyone out of here, or he is just going to run you down. They ignore him, they fight around him, and then this flash Q3 from Ben, and you got the percentage HP.
Absolutely massive. Zeus head in hands here. It is not over yet, but it's feeling like BLG are winning fight after fight at this stage. Baron up and available once again, and Zeus' health bar once more looks like a barcode.
Atlas from Champion Select, we say you have to mark the flanks. You have to mark the flanks for HLE. You cannot allow these engages onto Guma again. I mean, Hextech, you know, Rift did help with the Super Blast Cone, but this time around BLG are starting the Baron, trying to draw HLE in.
Well, Zeus can definitely face check. He is going to do that as Knight takes a briefcase to the face. KANAVI has a Mega Cone in order to get himself in here as well, as GUMAYUSI is hunting. I don't know about his frontline position here as well, as Knight does get himself out of the way. The briefcase doesn't land onto Viper, as the Pop Blossom does come down. Cease and desist is stolen. They get on top of the misfortune, but at what cost? GUMAYUSI trying to dash away from Bin. He is put down to his GA. Shun pops back up again, but Guma flashes out. Now Bin looks to get on top of him, but he dashes out of the way. And this is what a team fight looks like when GUMAYUSI stays alive. HLE will look for even more as KANAVI celebratorily ults underneath this inner turret, and I think they may have done it. Hanwha Esports may have just ended the Golden Road.
Incredibly costly mistake from BLG. HLE will retake the game and the series back.
And it looks like the orange tank is going to bulldoze the Golden Road as an immovable Mundo will take down these Nexus turrets. Pop Blossom in celebration from Zeka as Hanwha Esports. They've already done first stand, and they'll do MSI as well.